You know how Rigify has a metarig specifically for cats, but it actually, like, low-key isn't good? Hopefully, I've actually fixed that. I mean, not in its entirety. There's other things that could be improved, but one of my main complaints with the rig that we get out of Rigify, I finally found a solution for it, and it's a little more involved than the leg fix that I posted a video of how to do like a couple days ago, I think. So this issue with the legs, like that not bending, I already showed how to fix that. It's kind of just one button. The spine fix, however, a little more involved. So this is actually probably going to be longer. I would estimate this to be maybe like 20 minutes, give or take. Maybe even up to like 30 minutes. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to try to make it as fast as I can, though, because obviously we don't want to watch the whole thing. So the problem with the spine is that it does not, like, it treats this, like, this point kind of as the pivot point, so that everything on this side of that, it moves the upper body, and this part is stationary, and everything on the other side rotates the back of the body, and that's stationary. And then, so if I want to move the spine, like the middle of it, this kind of free floating area up, that takes a lot of things to do. I need to move the whole body up, and then I have to rotate these down. Or actually, I mean, I prefer to use these ones if I can because they're simpler. And I try to move this down, and then I don't know. The shape is just really weird. It's not fun to work with. It's at best inconvenient, at worst like kind of awful. Really, when I'm animating, I want to have control over several points in the model independent of each other and have the middle of, like, between those points, just kind of figure it out. So, like, for example, if I know in the shot, just like in the composition of it where I want the chest to be, I want to be able to put it there. The same thing for the pelvis area. I want that. Also, I want to just like put that where I know I want it. And same thing for the spine. I want to just put that where I know I want it, rather than just fight with a million different bones to try to figure out, like, okay, well, if I move this tweak bone here and this tweak bone, maybe I rotate it, like, no, I can't even rotate. I don't know. Just like, you know, playing games like it's a puzzle to do something relatively simple, like move the spine how I want it. So I did find a solution to that. It's actually right in Rigify, but the documentation doesn't have a single word about it. It mentions it by name like once or twice, and that's it. Just to say it exists, you know? So really quick, and here is what I actually ended up with. So like I said, I wanted a point here where I move this, the chest, where I want it, you know. The hips, I put that where I want it. Yes, it does kind of break because the whole thing is parented like this, you know. It's like the rest of the spine follows it, but the upper body doesn't because of some parenting issues I'll get into in a bit. But like literally that's fine because we just like put that back, and we just put that the middle of the spine, literally wherever we want it. Like literally wherever we want it. And so, like I said, there is like a, you know, a slight inconvenience where these two bones, they aren't linked together because there's no easy way to make them work together. I imagine that you could do something with like bone constraints and make things do stuff. I don't know. But that's even more involved, and honestly, like, I don't really mind moving these both together by hand. It's whatever. I also did the same thing to the tail because I personally don't like the Rigify tail. I think maybe you can keep the tail if you like it, but it also might break because of the way that it's attached to the spine. So you just do the same thing to the tail as the spine, and it works great. You know. So with these, it kind of fixes a lot of my problems with it. Also, here's the leg fix if you're curious. I'm just going to try and, as quickly as I can, run through all of the steps you need to actually fix it. So, actually, I have a notepad here. This is the third take. Hopefully this is the one. I actually organized myself this time, and I wrote literally anything down. So let's start by going into... Well, let's hide the rig here for now, because we don't need it. Let's go into the Metarig, and head into pose mode. Okay, so it looks like the only thing I'm doing here right now is I'm just... So the way Rigify works is that you have the bones and the connected chains of bones. They all kind of talk to each other and they act as one unit. So this is the base of the spine here. And you can see that in pose mode specifically. If you go over here, you can actually scroll down, and the base of the chain of them says the name of the rig type. In this case, by default, the Metarig, which by the way, this Metarig here, I spawned in a Metarig using just like as it comes, posed the bones, and then deleted a handful of unnecessary ones that I don't use, like the face bones. Those ones seem irredeemable to me, so I just get rid of them. But other than that, all of the settings here are as they are when you generate a new rig, so it should be the same. So in this case, this rig type is spines, basic spine, and that gets those like, you know, Pringle shaped controllers and like all those slices, you know? I'm just gonna change this to experimental superchain. Nothing in the documentation about it, but it does what I need it to, and I was messing around to try and improve the Metarig and found one that actually worked. So I'm doing that for both the spine and the tail. I think the tail might break because it has no spine if you keep it as the tail, but I'm not 100% sure. So I don't know. It's up to you to figure out. I don't like the other tail anyway, so I'm just using this one. So I'm pretty sure that's all I'm doing here for now. Oh yeah, actually, while I am here, the same change can be made to the hind legs. You just go into this bone here, and you tell it rear paw, and it suddenly IKs with these two trying to stay parallel, rather than this joint like not rotating at all. So, but that's its own video. So over here, I'm done in pose mode, and I'm gonna go to edit mode now. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so first, we're gonna kind of bounce back and forth between pose and edit mode because there are different things you can do in each. So one thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna Ctrl+d, grab myself a bone here. I'm just gonna call that like pelvis master or something. And then I'm gonna grab this one here, the end of the spine, because this one is the start of the head, neck. I'm gonna grab the end of the spine, do the same thing, and you're gonna be shoulder master should work. On it, like the names don't matter, but yeah, these don't need parents. And then I think that's all I'm doing here for now. I'm going to bounce back to pose mode. Oh, actually, yeah. So an important thing to know about experimental superchain it's experimental. It actually works now. Apparently, it didn't work like back before 2.8, but it does work now. It can't take any children. So like this bone here, it's parented to one of the bones of the spine. It'll break. We just have to disconnect that. Same for this one, has a handful of children. So I'm actually just going to shift select all of its children. This one is also technically one of the children to the spine, so I'm selecting it as well. Even though I already did it, but just visually so we see them all together. And then over here at the pelvis, these ones are all parented to the base of the spine, as is the tail. So all of these bones I have selected now. I just Alt-P to clear their parents. And then now we should be okay. Because if any of these 4 bones has any children, the rig, even if it will generate, it will be really broken when it does generate. So now I'm going to take all of the children that I had on this bone. So in that case, it's these ones here. And I'm going to parent them to the master, keep offset. These two I'm actually going to keep unparented because of the way I'm going to parent it later. We'll see. But I like them parented to the middle of the spine. And there's no way to do that here. I'm not going to use a master or anything just for that because it wouldn't actually be connected anyway. And we can fix that in the generated rig pretty quickly. So then for this one, all I have to do is select these 3, the base of the tail, and I can also parent the base of our spine, because it can be a child, it just can't have children. So we parent those, keep offset, and now everything is parented as we need it to. There's still a couple of other things we need to fix though, so let's see. Yeah, so we're just going to jump back to pose mode now. And we duplicated these off of the spine just because it's convenient. You could actually just, duplicate these off of something else and you might not actually have to do this step, but no reason to go to yeah. It's up to you. So I'm going to change these to both the basic super copies, but I'm actually going to make them not deform. So I'm turning off deform for that bone. And just because I like it, I'm going to give it a diamond, the widget on whatever you want. So then same thing over here, basic super copy, no deform. Make that a diamond. What else are we at here? Yeah. So one thing that we did is we had to unparent this bone from our spine. And unfortunately, that does break it. Its rig type is currently spine's superhead. And it was throwing some errors when I tried just using it as it is here. Because it looks like it really wants to be attached to a spine. So I do have to change that. Kind of like to taste, really. I'm sure there are other ways to set up your neck and head. But I'm fine just using super copy for these. And they normally look like circles anyway, so I'm leaving them circles. But I have to do it for all 3 of them because this isn't a chain, they're just going to be super copies. Maybe it's possible you can do the same thing with a chain and not have to do this step, like all of them individually. But I think you also lose some control if it is a spine. So I haven't actually looked into it too much. So now I go back to edit mode, and just because of how these are, like, they're all connected to each other, it means that when we're in pose mode in the final rig and we're actually trying to rotate these and move them around, we'll only be able to rotate them because they are stuck to the location of their parent. If we just hit unconnect on these, it's perfectly fine. We can move them as well. So I'm going to do that, and then what else we got? Oh yeah, okay, so while we are, so I think this is set up. I'll like do a look over really quick after check. But another important thing to do here is, so with a metarig, the generate rig button down here in both object and pose mode both work. If you already have the rig that was generated from it previously in your scene and you hit generate rig, it actually updates right into this rig. Essentially just clears the whole thing and replaces it with the new stuff, which is mostly going to be the same, so it's no different. But it does mean that it gets rid of anything that you customized in the rig itself here. So I'm actually just going to go in really quick and hide that for the moment. And in edit mode, I'm going to all of the stuff here, like all of my face rig and the ears, I did that myself, and I want to keep that for when I update. I really just have to pull these out of the rig and into a new one, which is really fast to do. So I'm going to hide those to make it faster to box select these. Actually, hide all of those. So now I'm going to box select all of these. Yep, these are all my bones that I'm trying to keep. And then I'm just going to go to separate bones. Now it's on its own rig, and I don't have to worry about that getting overwritten. So now I can go back to our metarig, and I believe I did everything right. I tried to follow my notepad, but I am dyslexic and I don't read well, so if there are any errors here, we'll find out. But I should be able just to hit generate rig, and it will, yep, okay, it worked perfect. So it's possible that you will get weird deforms where like a lot of the bones kind of like end up and around or just various weird places. Like the FK bones for the legs will just be like sticking out randomly. That's usually a sign that one of the rig types, especially on the masters here, didn't get changed correctly. So I now have the updated rig, which means I don't need to be looking at the meta rig. And now that this is here, I can actually just add this back in. So I'm gonna shift, select both, and then Ctrl+j to join. It looks like it disappears, but it's actually just because the layer that it's on is hidden, but I can unhide it right here. So if you remember correctly, I did not parent the two bones here in the belly. So nothing will move these two. If I go to edit mode, it actually is parented here because everything without a parent gets that. I'm just going to parent these actually to what I want them on. So I can't put them on anything we currently are looking at because these are mostly these are the bones we use to control the rig. But Rigify actually, it has multiple layers of bones. This one over here, like the third one over from the bottom right, if I make that one visible as well, this is our deform layer. And so all the bones in this layer are actually the bones that move the mesh, like the stuff that all this stuff is weight painted to. So I have my belly bone here, and I'm just going to now shift select the deform bone that I want to parent it to. And in this case, that's going to be spine 001. Make sure it says DEF. That way we're sure that it's going to be on the actual deforming one. It's possible there's a similar bone that it would also work on, but in this layer, it's going to be this one here. And this one will work, so that's the one I'm using. And then I just Ctrl+P and then keep offset. And then if I try to click on this one here, I'm actually clicking on the deform bone for the belly, and I don't want that. So I actually have to shift click to unview this layer so I can actually grab this one finally, and then bring it back, and then figure out which bone I'm parenting this to. There's a whole mess of them in here. I think it's this one. Yeah, okay, spine 002. Technically, I could actually do this in the bones info layer over here, but this way is more visual, so I like it. So keep offset. So these are parented now. These are going to work fine. I think that might be it. Let me check. Yeah, okay. So I think we should be good. So I'm gonna just shift click that now because we don't actually need to see the deformed bones. And we should be able just to pose our cat. I didn't move any of the bones here, so that's why these are kind of, they look off center because the diamonds are centered around the head of the bone, not the tail on the other end. That's the kind of thing you figure out where in your model it looks right to have these. So now I can actually just grab the spine, move it up and down, and works fine. I can also move it side to side. And tail also should work the same way. So important to note, we never connected the end of the spine with the chest and upper body and everything. Oh, wait, did we not connect these back up? Oh, that's right, we didn't. Okay, last thing to do. The face. So all of my face bones are conveniently on this parent bone, so I only have to parent this one thing. So I just Ctrl+P, keep offset. Okay, we're good. So these two are not connected to each other. I don't think there's a good way to connect them easily. Oh, this is local. So I'm sure there's some way to use bone constraints to make them connected, maybe, but I haven't looked into it. I think that this is easy enough to work with on its own, even though these are separate. So, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure we're basically done, yeah. Also, because these are unconnected, the body just, you slide. There's, like, nothing going on here. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, this is the end of the tutorial. We now have a spine that works the way I said it did. I will be putting this like notepad thing here. So I'll be copy pasting this into like the video description, just so there's like something to read as well if you want to just like quickly reference it back. I might like do a bit of editing to kind of clarify some of it because this was originally just notes for myself. But yeah, so hopefully all of us are gonna have great looking cats now.